Ron Airy here, after a hard day of driving for Uber. Enjoy coming back and telling you something about my experiences here in Maine, both in the past, and present, and out of my imagination. Been thinking about being in church and the funny things that happen in church. A lot of funny things happen in church. I just should clear up that I'm not a member of any organized Protestant denomination, you see. I'm a Nazarene. You get it. But there's been a few things that have happened as I've gone along in the years. And I remember it's been a hot day today. And I remember one time years ago, the pastor, I won't say who or where, but I was there, and I remember it clearly that he forgot that he was behind the pulpit and he was praying the pastoral prayer. And he used a rather, you might say, country expression. He was saying, "Oh Lord, now we know it's hot, and the sweat's running down the valleys." And then he realized what he'd said, and he tried to back out of it. And he said, "The shoulder blades." But you're not going to back out of that. Everybody knew what he meant, and there wasn't anybody that really chuckled out loud, But he just, we went on. The work of the Lord didn't come to a stop just because he'd said something foolish. There's things like that happen, in churches. It's just really funny. Things like that is just precious. I remember one of my preacher friends, he says, "Does our church take a stand against gambling?" "You bet it does." And he didn't realize what he'd said, and the lady, she looked at me and I looked at her, and we just chuckling, It was ironic and punny, You see, my church is kind of conservative. We sing, pretty good, but we're the Nazarenes, there's a lot of churches, that they dance and jump around, they have a good time, and all the more power to them. They're Assemblies of God, they're charismatic, and they like that. When they worship, they raise both hands in the air, Not us Nazarenes, see, we raise one hand. If long as nobody's looking, we just do that. And the story goes of, a Nazarene pastor and his Assembly of God pastor's friend, they're down in Boston, and they got mugged. And the Nazarene pastor, he got shot because he'd only raised one hand. Yeah. That's not a true story, but you could bet it probably could be true. Yeah. Well, the story also goes of a young pastor just got out of Bible college and got up to probably halfway up in Maine, backwoods, and he's all vim and vigor. He wants to really change the world, and he came to the old country church, and his first Sunday there, he gets into that old place, and it's kind of broken down, a little congregation, probably 30, 40 people there, and he goes into the sanctuary, and the light that they have is just, a wire with a bare bulb hanging down the center of the building. And that's all they got. So he gets an inspiration, and during the course of his sermon, he says, folks, we ought to be thinking about maybe welcoming people from the community into the church, and it would, we ought to be getting ready for company here in our church. And I think, get started. Let's make our building more attractive, And I think everybody, if you could find it in your heart to put $1 in the offering plate at the end of the service toward the purchase of a new chandelier, I think that'd be awesome. And God bless your heart if you did that. So I'm, it's a shaking hands. We'll have a plate out there and put $1 in the offering plate toward the purchase of a new chandelier, and we'll see if we can get something started for that. So everybody's doing it. Bless your heart, young pastor. We're so glad to see you. And all that. And they're doing that. But when this old hard-bitten farmer type, he comes along, and he's just looks like he could chew nails and spit rust. He's that type of fella. And he says, "Pastor, it's a good sermon, but I ain't gonna drop no $1 in the offering plate for you today." I said, "Well, that's your choice." And he says, "Well, got 3 good reasons." Yeah. He said, "Well," "first of all, time's been hard. I really don't have the $1 to spare." I said, "Second of all, don't actually think we need a new chandelier. I think the one we got's good enough. Yeah, what else? He says, well, if we did get one of them newfangled things, I don't think there's anybody in the church knows how to play it.